Just sharing out on the other channels. And how are you? My dog's chewing on his bone in the other room. So happy because I gave him a treat before I started my live. It took me a bit to convince him to even come in the house. I don't know where you are in the world. Hello, TT. I don't know where you are in the world, but I'm in Alberta. And Alberta in January is typically cold. And not a little, but a lot cold. But right now we are having temperatures in the positive. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Carol. We're having temperatures in the positives, and it is a welcome change, and I've been enjoying it. So I was sitting outside on the deck with my dog before the live, and I started meditating, sitting in the sun, and then I lost track of time, so I apologize. I did plan on starting the live at 1:44, but it's closer to 2. So I apologize. But hello. How are you doing? Say hi and where are you from? Today is a Tuesday live, and on my Tuesday lives, I talk about true sidereal, the celestial alignment, and what we can look forward to this week. And we do have a few things that are happening this week. If you're on TikTok, I would appreciate it if you could tap and give likes, because it's what TikTok expects. Hi. Perfect. See, every delay works out for some reason. There's a reason for it, right? We're always aligned with what we're supposed to be aligned with. So we're going to talk about the celestial alignment and all of that stuff today as well. Hi, Katya. But everything that we're talking about is based in true sidereal, which is the living sky as we see it. And I talk about this all the time about how mainstream astrology is based in the sky being frozen approximately 2,000 years ago and just following the same pattern cycle after cycle after cycle. Right? So according to mainstream astrology, on the 20th approximately of March, the sun enters into Aries and we begin Aries season, which technically is the beginning of the astrological wheel. So this is the way mainstream astrology teaches it. But that's not where the actual sun is. The sun isn't actually in Aries on March 20th. The sun has slightly been moving through the zodiac, right? So if you were to think about it the same as, I can't, because mainstream astrology has it all tied up in the same little bit of distortions. So we're going to talk about what we can look forward to this week according to true sidereal. And I just wanted to talk a little bit beforehand, and I might talk about it a little bit at some point. I have a bunch of things that are coming up on the website. I have made some changes, so do check it out. I have an absolute free membership space there called the Temple of Light. And I post deeper content than what I post in all of my social media channels. And it also gives you a way to have contact with me in case anything ever happened to one of my social media channels. And as I said, completely free. There are other membership spaces that do have a fee per month, but I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that I have a free membership space and you should join that. The other thing that I have is 2 new releases for my books. Give me a second and I'll grab them so you can see the covers because I want to. So book 5 of the Heroine Chronicles and book 6 of Luminous Soul series. The cover on this one is actually glossy in its finished version, but I have the author's copy, and the author's copy, it has a matte finish because I selected the wrong finish. So I have the only matte finish. So Tiana and the Phoenix Who Refused to Burn. It's a beautiful book about really not being afraid to blaze a new trail, kind of pun intended. So it's a tale of self-identity or identity, self-acceptance, and the magic of being exactly who you are. So it's a great book for kids, little kids. Hi, Nikki. How are you? Oh my God, fellow friend. Are you in Alberta? I think you're in Alberta. And if you are you enjoying today? Because is this week not the best week in Alberta recently? Me too. Oh, it's beautiful today. It's beautiful this week. I can't get enough of the weather. It's awesome. So the other book that I released this past December, actually, it was in December, is book 6 of the Luminous Soul series. And this is a book for children and who teaches you about energy and your place in the world and all of that. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to, at one point, I'll do a read through of these books. I should say at some point I'll do a read through of these books, but they have beautiful little pictures in them. This one here is Infinite Wonders. The Universe Has No End. So it's just to connect children to those concepts and, to the concepts of energy and stuff. So these are all available as books on Amazon worldwide, but you can also get them as an ebook off my website. They're all available there. Other announcements. Okay, so Bridge to Light Phase 2 was set to begin on January 9th, but I pushed that date, because it didn't seem like people were ready for it yet. They were ready for that phase of embodiment. So, and I wasn't ready to put on a big course right now either. Oh, I love it. Thank you. And hello, Bella. How are you? I'm so happy that you could catch me too. So I lost my train of thought. Oh, Bridge to Light. Bridge to Light. It was supposed to start January 9th, but like I said, I don't think people were quite ready for that yet, at least not phase 2. I talk a lot about embodiment because that's what we're here. We're here to figure out the truth, remember our truth, like our divine truth, and live it, right? So when you learn things that are opposing to you as a divine being, you're supposed to say, okay, I see it now, no more, and turn away from it and leave it in the past. So I talk about that a lot. That's what my channel is about: Christ consciousness, living the Krystic way. And when I mean Krystic, this is not religious. This is about the truth. That's all it is. It's the truth outside of religion. It's taking the parts of the Bible that were actually true and just getting rid of the rest of it. And the same with all the other religions. There's truth in all of them. They just don't have all truth in it. There are lies and distortions and manipulation. So my thing is, I believe in God. I call God prime source in my content sometimes, but don't be alarmed by the terms. I call my higher self my oversoul, but it's just because these language has frequency, language, words, they have power, right? So, hey, Teresa, look at this is beautiful. I love everybody showing up today. So Bridge to Light was pushed back a little bit because I haven't felt the resonance in the field with everybody surrounding stepping into that embodiment level. So phase 1 is an evergreen. You can go and check that out. I'm still going to be talking about embodiment, and I figure I'm going to move Bridge to Light to start on the 22nd of February. The energy around that time is more supportive. Oh, beautiful. Make that tracks. That tracks, Nikki. Absolutely tracks. So we're going to talk about true sidereal today. On Thursdays, we talk about Christ consciousness, but I just wanted to talk about tonight. We have the Krystic Wealth Activation Series. That is from 5 p.m. until 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So 7 till 8:30 Eastern Time, to give you another time zone. This series is powerful. many of us, we're doing the work, we're living ourselves in alignment and embodiment, right? Like I get up every day, I show up for myself, I have, beautiful routines, I meditate in the morning, then I do yoga, then I paint watercolors. Before I start working, I show up every day with joy for the things that I'm creating, in that alignment stage. But maybe you're someone like me who, although you're doing all of the right things, the money isn't coming in the way that it should be. Because believe it or not, abundance and wealth are not the same things, right? Wealth is currency. And so you need to have the capacity to hold the bandwidth of the currency that you're trying to bring in. So if your nervous system tightens up or gets scared, if I was to say, I want to purchase something from you, and I think that what you're selling is worth $1,500 for 6 sessions. And if I say that I'm going to pay you, or if you say to yourself, hey, I'm selling these things and fair market value would be this amount. And if you say that amount and it makes you tighten up because it's up there, that's showing you where you have a nervous system that needs to do some soothing or open up for that capacity. Don't be exactly, just breathe. So that session starts tonight from 5 until 6:30 p.m. And we will be doing 3 nights in a row. And this is actually what is free for Krystic Mastery Circle members. This is their free education for being a part of that group. Every month, I do 1 live for the Guardian Pathway and the Krystic Mastery Circle. Typically, when I do these lives, I just post them for $22.22. But this one's $44.44 because it's 3 days. So I figured I should charge a little bit more. But it's a beautiful opportunity for you to address some of the other reasons why, even though you are in alignment, you're living your purpose, you're doing all of these things, but things just still aren't working or aligning with you. Okay, so definitely look into that. I love it. I love you. So the other thing I wanted to remind everybody about is, of course, my nonprofit. My nonprofit is Hugs for Homeless. Soon, I'm going to be distributing 10 bags into the homeless community. I'm just aligning with our partners in community, because what we do is take donations, build the backpacks, put them all together with the essentials that those that are unhoused could use. And then we align with people like missions and stuff like that, because they are interacting with clients all the time. Now, if somebody came to me and said, I have a friend who's homeless at this time, I would bring that and give it to him. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure there's stuff on there. But I'll share something to you, Nikki, for sure. I would love that. And those are the types of volunteers that we're looking for. We're looking for some volunteers who are willing to just share the message out there, because sharing truly is caring. We are, of course, looking for donations. We're always looking for donations, whether that be corporate sponsorship, or if you are someone that owns a corporation and does team building. We have partnered with Kits for Cause. So you can go to that site and sign up to do a team building activity for Hugs for Homeless. So that's another way that you can help us. We do have a partnership with a wholesale bulk supplier for all of our supplies. So every dollar that you do donate goes much further because of these partnerships. The other volunteers that we're looking for currently are people who love to research grants and stuff like that, and would be interested in checking out what grants would be applicable for a nonprofit such as Hugs for Homeless. And even so much so as filling in the application. We're looking for volunteers for that. So there's different volunteers that we're looking for, and anything that you have to offer is awesome. Head over to hugsforhomeless.com, and you can send us an email at info@hugsforhomeless.com if you have any questions or you have something that you want to suggest or offer. which is perfect. Okay, let's get to today's episode. We're going to talk about those pesky planets. No, I'm kidding. They're actually very insightful, and they are going to help guide you, because we're meant to live in harmony with each other. It's unity consciousness, right? So it's important for us to be living not just in harmony with our fellow man, but to be living in harmony with the animals and the plants and the planet as a whole, including the rest of the planets. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to look at what those planets are doing right now so that we can check in on that. Okay, so today is January 13th. So we're going to be talking about the sky from now until the 19th. And we've got a couple of things happening in this time frame that we're looking at. When I'm talking about astrology right now, I am using true sidereal. True sidereal is the type of astrology, or the name of the astrology type that looks at the living sky. So it's the sky as it is. So if you were to go and get yourself a Stellarium app on your phone and you were to look in the sky right now, it would show you where certain planets are, what constellations they're in. And that's how I want to live, because that's the truth. I want to live working with the true sky, not with the sky as it was 2,000 years ago, because I'm not back there. That's irrelevant to me now. And so that's what true sidereal is. It's looking at the actual living sky as it is. So that's what I talk about. The other thing that I do is talk about Krystic astrology. Now, when I say Krystic, I don't mean Christian. I don't mean that at all. I mean outside of religion. The true spiritual, the divine organic blueprint of things. So I seek the truth in things. That is what my mission is. I have strong Ophiuchus, Sagittarius, and Scorpio placements. And I also have strong relationship houses. So I'm meant to do this through relationships. And in this environment, we're in relationship. So we're going to learn about the sky so we can live in harmony with time, the body, and the earth. So let's take a breath together. That's good. Just let yourself settle. And let's look at the week ahead. Okay. The sun is still in Sagittarius. It changes into Capricorn on the 19th. So we'll talk about that on the 19th. The sun in Sagittarius, which is opposing what we're hearing in mainstream. Okay. In mainstream, they would already be declaring that it's Capricorn season. That would have happened on solstice. They would have said that that's when the sun entered into Capricorn. But if you check any live sky app or site, you will see that the sun is still in Sagittarius. We have the moon, and it's going to transition very quickly here, because the one thing that true sidereal does is it looks at the actual size of the constellations. Traditional astrology looks at it like a piece of pie, and each piece of pie is the same size. So a constellation like Scorpio would show up in the astrological wheel as being the identical size of its opposing side, which would be Taurus, right? If you go across the zodiac wheel in traditional astrology, Scorpio and Taurus oppose each other, but they're not the same size. Scorpio and Ophiuchus are smaller. They're more narrower constellations. So this week we have the moon moving through a few of them. Right now, the moon is going into Scorpio. Tomorrow, the moon goes into Ophiuchus. And then on Wednesday, no, we're on Tuesday. On today is Tuesday, Wednesday. On Thursday, and through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the moon is going to be in Sagittarius, and then it'll go into Capricorn for the rest of this time frame that we're talking about. So we have 4 transitions with the moon. Last time we only had the 2 planets that it went through, because the planets that it went through, like Leo, are larger constellations. We also have me too. It gets confusing. If it wasn't for my lives every week, I would probably, and the fact that I post every day, like if it wasn't for those types of like routine things, I would be like lost And half the time I'm still like, like what actual day is it? Like knowing that it's the 13th is different than knowing that it's a Tuesday. We also have the new moon on the 18th, just before Saturn enters into Capricorn. And what that means is it's the second new moon in Sagittarius. According to true sidereal astrology, we had a new moon in Sagittarius back on December 18th. And Sagittarius season just began the night of the 17th. So it was a really new moon, early new moon. And now we're having a late new moon. So we've got the two new moons happening in Sagittarius. So this is quite interesting, but they won't be saying that it's a new moon in Sagittarius. They will be saying it's a new moon in either Capricorn or maybe even Aquarius. I'd have to consult. I've fallen out of habit with with the traditional or seasonal astrology. We also have this big event that's happening on the 15th, and it is Saturn. Saturn is entering into Pisces. So this is one of the outer planets that are moving. And so that is an effect that is more collective base, or it's a larger energy. So this is really a threshold week. We are completing a fire-based cycle and preparing to build something real, because that's Capricorn energy. Capricorn is that beautiful legacy. Let's build a legacy. Let's, like, that dad energy. It's very grounded, earthy energy, ready to, achieve things and build things. And so that's the energy that we're going into. So this week is the final week of that fiery energy that we've been in. And it's been a lot, because it's not just the sun. We also have Mercury, Mars, and Venus all occupying Sagittarius currently. So we've got a stellium in Sagittarius, and we will for a little while yet. Because even when the sun moves out, we still have those three planets. So it's still a bit of a thing. So let's talk about the Scorpio moon for a little bit, and then we'll talk about some of the other transitions as we go through this week. So right now, the moon is in Scorpio. Scorpio, hi mommy. Scorpio does not ask us to fix things, right? It's asking us to feel what has been avoided. Scorpio is a water sign. Water is about emotions. So it wants us to feel what we've been avoiding. So find out what your numbing agents are, or your distractions are, your avoidance patterns. Find out what they are and try to switch them off this week, because if you're still doing those things, you're avoiding the feeling, right? You have to move beyond the things that are numbing out the feelings so you can feel them. And that's the purification. So that's what this beautiful Scorpio energy is. It's helping you to purify your life. It's asking you to look at what's being avoided and allow it to be completed, so you can move beyond that. Scorpio moon, right? When we look at our Scorpio moon, we're looking at our emotional landscape. So when you add the energy of Scorpio into the moon sign, that's when you're getting that real emotional honesty. You're getting the release of attachments, you're ending cycles that no longer hold truth for you, and you're letting that intensity move through rather than stagnate. We want to release it. Everything that we're not willing to release or we're not willing to face, we're just holding on to and keeping ourselves in patterns and cycles. So if emotions surface early this week, that's the Scorpio moon. And allow yourself to face them, as opposed to looking at them as obstacles that you want to avoid. They're just information that is coming up so that you can release them. And that's why they're coming up, because they're ready. They're like, hi, that feeling of guilt, or that feeling of sadness, or that feeling of not being good enough. That feeling's here so that you can address it and move beyond it. It doesn't want you to sit in that energy. So then we move, like I said, we have that very short time where we're into Scorpio, and then we pop into Ophiuchus for a very short moment as well. Ophiuchus is integration. So we went from that energy of purifying, and now we've got to integrate. It's synthesis rather than escape. It's healing through inclusion and holding the paradoxes that exist without fragmentation. So this isn't about transcending emotion. Ophiuchus being the 13th sign and the one that's oftentimes not even talked about because it's not in traditional astrology anymore. Seasonal astrology does not include the 13th sign. So this Ophiuchus energy, it is actually the combination of the energy between Scorpio, the water sign, and Sagittarius, the fire sign. So it's that hybrid energy of those two. So this isn't about transcending your emotion because we're talking about the moon here. So this is our moon, or our emotional landscape. It's about integrating what Scorpio revealed so it no longer controls the field. Anything that can get an emotional reaction out of you has the ability to control you because you are controlled through your emotions. That's why empathy can be weaponized, why your rage gets weaponized, right? And it's because you are controlled through your emotions. I didn't even turn my little tea heater on. My cup was getting cold and I didn't even know it. So Ophiuchus is going to ask you, and this is a question to reflect on, is going to ask you, what truth can you hold now without fear or avoidance? Right? Because oftentimes we're like, wait, I know the truth, but I'm going to lie to myself. Or I know the truth, but I'm going to avoid facing it. I know the truth, but I'm going to numb myself out so I don't have to sit with it. Right? We know the truth, right? It's just like I've said before, and I apologize if anything that I say is offensive. When you are offended by something that someone else says and there's a reaction that you have to look at what is that reaction for. Now, if I say something that offends you and you're like, she has ideas or viewpoints or morals or beliefs that I don't like, that's just an indication for you that we aren't in alignment. And then you go find someone that's in alignment with you. But if we're sitting there and we're sitting down and we're not moving our body and we're filling our face full of processed junk and we're overweight, we know why. We're not stupid. Right? You can say to yourself, I don't know what my problem is. I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know what this is, but you know why. And a lot of times it's emotion, right? And when we look at, and the reason why I'm going to carry on with weight just a little bit, because I know that weight can be something that can be very triggering for people. The thing is that your weight is your emotions that you're holding on to. So you need to be evaluating your emotions of what you are holding on to. Sometimes we wear weight as a buffer. It's like a coat of armor. It keeps people away from us. Sometimes we wear it, and women especially do this. And I know because I was one, I did this, and I still do this to a certain degree. But I carried excess weight on me so that men wouldn't look at me because I was a product of a lot of sexual abuse as a child. Because of all of those sexual abuse, I didn't want guys looking at me. I didn't want guys thinking I was sexy. So it was so much better. And I literally had a thing in the back of my head that said, chubby chicks are harder to kidnap. Why? Because I've been kidnapped. So I had experiences that were shaping my worldview, and my weight was a buffer for that. Sometimes weight is literally the storing of emotions because you've been holding on to them. And as soon as you release them, you're good. But sometimes it is a matter of understanding that you've put weight as a protective mechanism for you. And when you understand that, then that can sometimes help you. So this is just an add-on to that. I understand there are more complexities than just diet and exercise for weight. I understand that there are hormone, trauma, all of these things. But I do understand also that we are not that dumb. We oftentimes know exactly what our problem is. We just don't acknowledge it. We don't stare it in the face and say, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, every night I come home and I drink a 6-pack. I don't know why my life's not, going the way that I want it to. I sit on the couch and I do nothing but watch TV and bark at my partner, right? If that's the way your life is and you're wondering why your life kind of sucks, well, because you're doing the same things. Like there's a pattern that you're doing, right? And that's something for everyone to address in their own life. this is the way I talk and this is the way I teach. So for some, this is offensive. Some, this is harsh. For some, this may be rigid. But I know that there are a whole slew of us that believe that we came down here with a mission, with a path, with a purpose, with, we came down here. Some of us identify as being a chosen one in some capacity, or an earth angel, or a light worker, or a starseed. But there's many of us that are on this that at least believe that they have a mission, that they came here to accomplish something. Some have the belief that they came here to grow their soul, right? To evolve their soul, that, you came here for these things. Whatever you believe you came here for, are you living it? Are you living it? And that's what I'm here to get you to do. With maybe some poking and some prodding. I couldn't say it. I was trying to say them both at the same time. Some poking and some prodding. But that's what we're all supposed to do. And the sooner that each one of us does that, the whole world benefits from that. And that's all you have to do. The sooner you live your truth, the sooner the vibration around you will change, and people around you will change. They will either evolve to the level that you're at, or they will remove themselves from your circle so that other people who are aligned with that energy will come in. And that brings you to the Krystic wealth thing again, which could be all talking about how we can be in alignment, but things not aligning, and that we could go through a season of silence as our field changes to align with us, which is what happened to me. I went through a very significant change in the content that I was teaching in my web page, like completely redesigned everything that I was doing, because I was working on things and I had been such a people pleaser, and I gave 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 and I gave. And then I wondered why I never received anything. And I did all of these things. So I had to reflect and learn and grow from those things and then put those changes in. And so here we are. But in that process, I lost a lot of people, and now I'm seeing those people change and come in. And it absolutely is worth it. It absolutely is. So if you're looking at that course, it's $44.44 Canadian, or you can sign up for the Krystic Mastery Circle and get the course for free. I was going to say, if you have any technical issues, if you do that, and if you have any technical issues at any point in time, just email me or connect to me on one of my social medias, like Facebook or something like that. So I can send you, say, the link or something if the link's not working for you, or I can help you troubleshoot something. All right. Then midweek, we move from Ophiuchus moon into Sagittarius moon. So now we have Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius moon, Sagittarius Mercury, Sagittarius Venus, Sagittarius Mars. That's a lot of fire. I think that's Thursday. That's a lot of fire, guys. I'll have to check. Let me check. What day was it that it went into Sagittarius? Yeah, on the 15th. And that's the day that Saturn switches places too. So we've got big energy there. Big energy. All right. 5 planets in Sagittarius, and Saturn moving from Aquarius into Pisces. Big energy. So when we're in Sagittarius energy with the moon in Sagittarius is looking at the truth. So Sagittarius is about perspective, clarity, and forward orientation. It's literally the arrow that's being drawn back and launched, and it wants to get launched in the direction of truth. It wants to be in alignment. It doesn't want you to be confused or unfocused. It doesn't want to try to fire arrows in 17 different directions to trying to figure out which direction you're supposed to go in. Sagittarius doesn't like that. Sagittarius fires true and in the direction of the next level, right? This is what we've worked through with those energies of Scorpio. Scorpio is bringing things to light and purifying the field. And then from that purification, Ophiuchus was like, this is where we rise from, is this space here. And Sagittarius says, well, now that we've got that figured out, this is where we're headed. And then Capricorn's going to take that and it's going to say, now let's rise. Let's build a legacy. Let's make this for the future. And then it's going to give it to Aquarius. And Aquarius is going to say, which future are we talking about? Because let's make this global. Let's make this innovative. Let's make this not just for today, but for tomorrow, right? Like that innovative mind. Anyway, we're talking about Sagittarius, and that's a lot of energy. So Sagittarius is asking, after all of that energy, what direction remains clear remains true, after that clearing, right? So what direction is true for us now? What is, don't be afraid to refine things and change direction, right? So this isn't the time for us to be making new plans, right? We're just getting clear in the direction that we're headed. It's just to recognize what still stands after all of that emotional purification. Now we move into the new moon and Capricorn, right? Right on around the 18th, we get the new moon. And then on the 19th, we have Capricorn season. So it's a big change of information there. And I did I'm like, where did my notes go on Saturn? I got to do a search. Hang on. Like type, back. Again, I'm like, what did I label it as? Had to think. Okay, I think I put Saturn in. Oh, no. Shoot. I did put the wrong thing. Saturn goes into Pisces. I know. Carol will talk to me on the phone and she'll be like, it sounds like you're one of those call girls, right? That are taking like, hi, I'm Sally. Can you get your address, please? What did you say your last name was again? Just do it. All right. Back to new moon in Capricorn. I found my notes for Saturn into Pisces. We're good. All right. So we've got the new moon on the 18th. And then right after that, the moon goes into Capricorn and then the sun follows. So give me 1 second. I want to check. I am certain. I had to research that. Sorry, I had to write a note for myself. I'm like, wait a second. Wait a second. All right, so we have our late Sagittarius moon right on the cusp before going into going into Capricorn season. And then right after the new moon, we get Capricorn moon, Capricorn sun, like everything's like shifting into Capricorn. Of course, minus those lovely Mercury, Mars, and Venus, which will still remain in Sagittarius for a little while longer. I don't think, I know I did all the notes, but I don't think I added them onto my paper yet when they switched. I didn't. I have to do up a new sheet giving me the next highlighted changes. So if I need to talk about it, I can. So we've got that new moon in late Sagittarius, which is closing out the Sagittarius cycle that we've just been going through. And then we enter into that beautiful that beautiful Capricorn energy. So the new moon is about truth consolidation. This isn't about manifestation. Sagittarius and late Sagittarius is asking, after all this time, after everything through this season, what is the truth? Right? What has been proven and through this experience? What beliefs are no longer holding up when you've lived them, right? And we do that where we're like, okay, I'm going to start this routine. I'm going to start this habit. I'm going to do this thing. This aligns with me. I'm going to try this. And you start doing it. And then you're like, well, actually, that doesn't really align with me, right? Maybe you think that you have to go to a gym and you have to pump iron, 7 days a week. And, so you have that concept, but it's not really for you. You're somebody that's more high energy and you'd like to do like a HIIT routine, or you're somebody who, wants to do something more like Tai Chi. Nothing is move your body and do what's aligned with you. And we know the truth that's out there, right? And it's only truth when it's lived, when it's embodied. Otherwise, it's just information. The other thing we want to be asking ourselves is what direction is still true after clearing, because we went through the Scorpio purification and then the Ophiuchus integration. So as we finish this fire cycle, we're clarifying vision, purpose, and orientation before we start to build new stuff. Because then Capricorn steps in and says, what am I willing to take responsibility for? Big daddy energy. What structure can actually support my new life? Again, routine, structure, earth energy, very grounded, very masculine energy, purpose and drive and, and achievement. And all of those energies are what Capricorn give us. What am I ready to build slowly and truthfully? Capricorn isn't a flash in the pan. It isn't interested in building something today that's going to be torn down tomorrow. Capricorn energy is the energy of looking after 7 generations, or at least 3 of them, right? So that's the energy of Capricorn. It wants to build something long-term and stable, and that's going to be there for years to come, the legacy. At the same time, so we have that on the 18th and 19th, but just before that, we have this shift of Saturn going into Pisces on the 15th. This is a profound energetic shift. Saturn is about responsibility, and it's also the planet that's been hijacked for karmic reasons. Saturn in Pisces brings form to the formless. It tests whether your spiritual ideas can be lived, not imagined. So if you're somebody that, I've talked to people about this, if you identify as somebody who is spiritual, what is your spiritual practices? If you're somebody, say, who identified, and I'm going to use this because I know a friend who identifies as this, and we had a conversation about this very thing. What if you're somebody who identifies as being Buddhic or Buddhist, right? It identifies as being a Buddhist. How are you living that truth in your day, right? How are you living your day? Are you living according to the Buddhic principles? And if you're not, then why not? Right? Why do you identify as such, right? It's like the person that identifies as a Christian or a Catholic or Muslim or whatever, right? Anything that you identify as, are you living it, or are you just owning the identity without actually embodying the truth of that particular identity? And if not, then address, is that identity aligned with you or not? And if it's not aligned with you, let it go. If it is an identity that is aligned with you and you do want to have, then embody that, live it, because it's not true unless it's lived, right? So Saturn is going to, in this switch to Pisces, this is that escapism, fantasy, and bypassing are going to lose momentum here, because Saturn is asking the spirituality that's encompassed within that Pisces energy. It's bringing it to real, like to truth, right? So it's asking you about the structure, the responsibility of that. So there's some questions, right? We want to be in devotion, compassion with boundaries, and lived integrity. And that's going to get strengthened with Saturn, with Pisces going into Saturn. So it's going to ask you, can your spirituality function inside daily life? Right? And my friend said that to me, that it was easier for me to live my practices because my life's different than his. And it's true. And I will say it's true, because I don't go to work in a car. Like, I don't go and get in a car and drive somewhere and go to work. So I don't have a commute. I have 2 hours in the morning. That is my time to meditate, to do yoga, to paint, to just have my peaceful awakening moments. And then I start work. And for somebody that is working out of the home, they have other factors to consider. But you can still make the choices, because you don't have to meditate in the morning. You can meditate at night. You don't have to work out in the morning. You can work out at night. You can go to bed really early and get up really early and meditate in the morning and work out in the morning and then still go to work. You just have to change and accommodate that so that you can live what you want to live. So that's what it's asking you, is how does it function inside the daily life? And is it in alignment with you? Or is it just that your ego wants to keep you in the safety zone, wants to keep you in the past? So it's telling you all the reasons why you shouldn't, couldn't, or can't, or anything else, to just skip past it, not do it. The other thing that it's going to ask us is, can sensitivity coexist with structure? Hey, Juju. Because that's a very, very powerful question with these two energies together, the energy of Saturn and the energy of Pisces in that particular, or with Saturn being in the constellation of Pisces. So can sensitivity coexist with structure? And can truth be held gently without dissolving into avoidance? Okay, because we don't want to be in avoidance. We want to face it head on and move beyond it. So with Saturn in Pisces, spiritual responsibility deepens, fantasy dissolves, and embodiment becomes the path. So how are we going to work with this energy? That's a lot of energy. Hey, Melissa, love you. Have you ever checked your natal chart using True Sidereal? I always do a throw out to Mastering the Zodiac, where you can go and get free True Sidereal natal charts. So if you are looking to see what your natal chart would look like, you can do it without knowing the time. It just won't give you your rising sign without the time, because it moves through rising signs every 1 to 3 hours. So it'd be really hard to pinpoint that. You literally have to read what each rising sign, and then make a determination of what you feel. So yeah, the rising sign's a little bit harder to predict. But you can get everything else about your chart and still know and get a lot of information. And this isn't about personality. This is about how your energy is meant to be expressed through this particular soul stream. That's how True Sidereal looks at it. And I do provide readings. I'm just putting them up on the website now. It probably won't be today. But if you are looking for something like that, just stay tuned, or you can even send me a message and ask. So this week is supporting specific energies, because we have all these transitions, right? We have that moon going through 4 different signs. We have the sun finally moving into Capricorn. We have a new moon. We have Saturn moving into Pisces. So that's a lot of transitions in 1 week. So this is supporting clearing before building, simplification, choosing fewer but truer commitments, and grounding your vision into form. It's asking us to avoid rushing into decisions. It wants us to avoid bypassing emotional signals. And it also wants us to stop forcing momentum before the foundation is ready. Hi, Kita. So this week is completing a cycle, right? We're transitioning out of Sagittarius season into Capricorn. So it's opening this new one. Next Tuesday, we will work with the sun in Capricorn, and we'll explore how to build in alignment with reality, capacity, and truth. So thank you for hanging out with me while we talked about the sky today and walking with the sky consciously. Let the earth carry what you release, and let the next structure form with care. Okay. Oh, I love you. Absolutely. Love you. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for stopping by, Teresa. It was a pleasure to have you here today. It's a pleasure to have all of you here today. So on Thursday, the live theme changes. On Thursday, we start talking once more about our beautiful Christ consciousness. And again, I'm going to remind everybody that that is nothing to do with religion. Okay. So this Thursday live is a part of the ongoing Christ consciousness and the Krystic Pathway teachings, where truth is explored as an embodied state rather than a belief system or spiritual identity. So this week's transmission takes place during a pivotal threshold in the celestial field, and that is Saturn entering into Pisces on the 15th, which is Thursday. When this is calling for a deeper level of responsibility, especially spiritual responsibility, maturity, and grounded embodiment. So this is not about ascension, escape, or transcendence. It is about learning how to live the divine truth in form through the body, the nervous system, and daily life. So in this live, we're going to talk about Christ consciousness as coherence rather than concept, the Krystic Path as lived integration rather than ideology, and how Saturn in Pisces dissolves fantasy while strengthening spiritual integrity. And we also work with the waning lunar cycle to support simplification, humility, and right order, allowing truth to stabilize rather than overwhelm. So this is a grounded, steady space for those walking the path of embodiment, devotion, and lived alignment, where clarity replaces striving and responsibility becomes liberating rather than heavy. So that's what we'll be talking about on Thursday, right here at 1:44, as long as I get my stuff together, right at 1:44. All right, so if you're looking at that Krystic Wealth Activation series, go check it out on my website. We go live tonight at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or if you're in another time zone, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Time Zone. It's 4 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Atlantic. I had to think, our maritime. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go and have some whatever little bit of sun I can capture before the end of this. Yes, 7 for you, my love. So yeah, we'll be doing that session there. If you miss it this time, don't worry. I'll be running other ones, and I do have a nervous system one that I'm going to be doing probably the end of January. I'm thinking around the 27th, but I'm just going to verify the dates. But once I have that set up, I'll talk about it on the 15th, what date that all is, and give you more details about it. But stay tuned here. There's always education that's upcoming, or activations, or lots of fun stuff that we're doing. And yeah, I love you guys. Have a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. And if you're somewhere where you're getting some sun, go outside and get into it. Go get into the sun. Go get into the wonderful, wonderful. Aw, that's perfect. That's perfect, Karen. It worked out perfectly. Love you. Have a beautiful afternoon. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. We'll see you on Thursday.